up, YouTube? After some long days of farming Nemesis currency, I finally almost have enough to buy a Mage Blood. I'm roughly short 140 exalts, but that's not really a big deal, right? I'm sure the price of Mage Blood will go down by tomorrow. But basically, by popular demand, I think for today's video, I'm going to go over a mid-budget POB and pretty much what you can expect to try to upgrade your character to, because I know a lot of people have been asking about what you should do from the budget POB and how you can exactly upgrade your character. So I'm going to go briefly over that. Now at this point in time, in terms of this character, I'm still trying to decide what my next build is going to be. I do think that the Aura Stacker is playable. You can see here, well, this is the person I will be looking at. But for the Aura Stacker, you can see that there are people who play Smite without March of the Legion, or with March of the Legion on, but you could use Prism Guardian and you cannot use March of the Legion, use a real pair of boots. And the Prism Guardian will be enough to cover it. The only thing is you need to make your Chaos Res work, so you will need to use Mage Blood and an Amethyst Flask to get Chaos Res to like 75%. And with that, and roughly around like 1000 life unreserved, you will have enough life to survive almost any chaos damage. So I do think I want to try out this build because it doesn't seem like it's super expensive. The helm is the big problem. The helm I know is like 100 exalts right now, but maybe you can get by without a hubris. But other than that, build looks like the typical Aura Stacker with a bunch of random cluster jewels to buy. But I don't think these ones will be too much, hopefully, so we'll see what we can pick up, and we could even try out a voices setup, especially with how cheap voices are currently. So we're going to be looking at this guy's profile, Rainbow Sunshine, eh? So right off the bat, you can see an item that you never really usually see. It is called Strangle Gasp, and I do believe that this is a pretty good item in terms of how much DPS it will offer you. So this guy has allocated Panopticon, Disciple of the Slaughter, Tenacity, Lethality. So I'm going to use this endgame Lightning Strike profile that is Dix, which is the #1 Berserker right now of this build. So let's see how much damage you actually lose by using this amulet. So we add this thing into the POB. And this is a Unatol amulet. Once you remove this, you can see it's only 20% DPS loss. That's not too bad, right? So yeah, replacing Unatol with Strangle Gas is still a 27% damage increase. Man, this amulet is just way too good. But I think the main reason why is Trinity is not in the links. So let's use Trinity instead and see how much we actually get for the damage. So it's not too big of a difference, right? So Trinity gives you 62 mil. And then I think Unatol's amulet. So Unatol's amulet will give you Awakened Lightning Strike level 6. So Strangle Gasp, so it gives you 70 mil with Unatol amulet, and Strangle Gasp without Awakened Lightning damage is 62 mil. So you can see the amulet is pretty good. It's not like a huge DPS loss anymore. So this amulet I think only costs like, I'm not sure how much it costs. It probably costs like 30x or so. Let's go take a look, because you never really know how much the price of things changes. So Strangle Gasp is, let's see, Strangle Gasp is 38 exalts. Okay, it's not really that much more of a budget option, but it was cheaper before. So this is like 20x. So if you can get it cheaper, I guess a lot of people corrupted them. But that is a budget option, not really the best budget option, but it's definitely a very viable alternative. That is a lot cheaper than Unatol. It is a lot easier to save up for 38 exalts rather than saving up for 122 exalts. Oh, and people are crazy. This amulet is out of control, 85x. I should buy it and relist it, right? Because that's what people do. Man, this amulet is just gone. Man, I should buy this amulet right now. I think this might be the last Unatol's Vow for a while. Who knows? This amulet's price is absolutely wild. I don't know if it's getting price fixed upwards or what is going on. But like I said, amulet is extremely expensive. So at 38 exalts, this is a pretty good budget option. Now here, I think this helm is maybe a little too bad. At this point in time, I would probably recommend getting a Blizzard Crown with, what's it called, Berserk Effect. And I think if you just roll this Blizzard Crown, you will see here that it is not too bad of a, it's like 2x, 3x. So this is for like pretty high budget people, or like mid-tier budget. So you've spent 2.53x, you can roll this, you can try to get some accuracy on it. You can get some life on it, and it is not that bad of an option. I do think that this is a pretty good option. So I will probably release, let's go make a new folder, right? Mid-tier budget. So we have the Blizzard Crown that you should be crafting on. And then we also have the Strangle Gasp. And I do think that this amulet is super good. In the end, this amulet will actually end up beating out Unatol's if you could ever corrupt it and make it a rare with actually good rolls. So it's actually not too bad, and I do think that that might be an end game option if I was to play Lightning Strike all the way through and I was trying to make the best character possible. So Red Blade Banner, this is pretty much an irreplaceable shield. I do think +1 max res is super good, but you can see here that a lot of people have what's it called, fire res or any sort of resist on it is pretty good. So next up we have Mark of the Elder. Now Mark of the Elder is an irreplaceable item, and to get a better ring for this at mid-budget would be absolutely crazy. Now, this is a Shaper ring with Assassin's Mark. So pretty much here, you're looking for any sort of resist. I do like how this person have reduced effective curses on it, so that he's able to get curse immune with this flask and this ring. Ideally, you would want to try to maybe get some damage, like elemental damage or weapon elemental damage, but it is very hard to get Assassin's Mark ring with stats like that, and it makes it very, very expensive. But let's see here if we have a ring. So like this is pretty much your standard Assassin's Mark ring search. So in order to make a good ring, you kind of want life and then like 50 life or so, and you maybe want some elemental damage, especially if you can get like any sort of Ashling damage. It would be pretty good. So you can see here this guy crafted it on. Man, this is pretty expensive, right? 1 to 20x. So you can see here, try to get like any sort of elemental damage makes the ring extremely, extremely expensive. I don't know if this is because no one's playing the league or what is going on, but these rings kind of seem wildly overpriced. So something nice you guys can always learn to use is count. And this is just like you can put in a bunch of different things that you like. So elemental damage to attacks or elemental damage. So this you put like 10. This is called elemental damage with attack roll modifier. And then you can also try to add some resist. But basically, now you can see here, there's a lot more rings for sale. Obviously, you probably want this to be like 25 or something. So this is like very general guidelines. You don't need to buy the ring that you see here. Now, if you want like resist on it and you want a certain amount of resistance, you can put a number of resistances like 2 because you'll get it on the implicit and another resistance elsewhere. So this one here, I don't know if this search is that good, right? So if you want it, you want resistance and you want probably a certain amount of resistance. So you want some massive resistance, you put 70, and they'll show up items with resist. So this is like some pretty good starter rings with some resist. You can also change the search parameter to have int. So I'm just going to add this here to the search, and you can pretty much change it to what you want, because a lot of times you have rings that you have life, you want int on it, and it makes it a lot different. But next we have the Brass Dome. Now the Brass Dome +1 gems is pretty good. +2 is also really good. +2 duration. So let's go check out how much the Brass Dome is. Now a lot of these items, as I'm looking up, I have no idea how much this stuff is, right? Because I actually haven't looked at how much people have overpriced this stuff. Now the what's it called? The Brass Dome is pretty easy to color if it's corrupted, because the tainted chromatic orbs actually ignores the fact that you have. So I think maximum resist is also pretty good. It ignores the stat requirements, so it makes it very easy to roll. So here again, we want to put count 1. So this is like a more intermediate chest. So this is +2 duration. Now a lot of people don't know +2 duration works for Vol Lightning Strike, in that it makes it, it's Vol Lightning Strike has a duration tag. So all of these chests are pretty good. You can see this is not too expensive of upgrades, like 10x. You can even get one for 4.5x. This is definitely very underpriced. So I should probably buy it. But oh yeah, the big problem is maximum elemental resistances needs to be 5. So don't forget about that. So I was like wondering, why is that so cheap, right? Elemental resistances should be 5, right? So now you can see it's like 8x is the minimum, but this will work again, 2x, 2 duration. This one actually works. It's not 6 links, so you probably have to pay a bunch of jewelers and then use tainted fusings. The easiest way is a 6 socket with jewelers and vol orbs, and then pay for the 4 link, and then you use Tainted Fusings and you need to hit 2 in a row. So you can see getting a +2 duration or +2 projectile is actually pretty expensive. Cheapest is around 14 to 20 exalts, and there's no real +2/+2. So this chest piece, if you want to upgrade for a brass dome, is around going to run you like probably 15x or so, unless you can snipe one up with duration because people don't know that it works with it. So next we have the gloves. The gloves, I would probably just stick to a strike with 1 additional nearby enemy and some life on it, and maybe some resist or accuracy. Accuracy is a pretty important stat if you're not at 100%. Attack speed also works super well with it. So this gloves, I think, is a pretty good for his budget. You could eventually try to Maven Orbit, and it's not exactly that expensive to Maven Orbit. And if you Maven Orb a prefix and suffix together, or Awaken Orb a prefix suffix together, you can make a pretty cheap strike additional 2 pair of gloves. And that shouldn't really run you around more than 8x. As long as you can craft life and multi-mod something on it, it shouldn't be too bad. You can also check out my glove crafting guide, and the glove shouldn't really cost you more than like 15 or 20x to upgrade. I don't really know what you guys think about like mid-tier budget stuff, but this item here, Attack Speed Fracture Claw, is pretty expensive. I think Fracture runs, but once you are able to get the Fractured Claw, it's not very hard to craft this at all. So getting a Fractured 30% attack speed, I don't know how much that costs, but you can pretty much see here. Let's go look at Fractured Claws. So attack speed percent, so we want around like 27, and then we want an Imperial Claw, and then we want to look up Fractured Claws. So let's see if there's a fractured section. Fractured item, yes. So it says no. Maybe it's wrong. The percent attack speed, local. So you can see here that none of these items are that. So I don't really know how you can see it. So here you can see this was fractured. All of these are pretty expensive, 40x. So spending this much money for a claw, so you pretty much expect to spend like 30x or so to get the fractured attack speed roll on it. Anything less than that, so the claw will end up costing you around 30x to get the base started. Once you get the base started, it's pretty easy to craft the rest of the claw. Like you can see these ones are pretty much finished, 39x or so. So you can expect the claw to run you probably around like 30 to 40x. Like I don't know how much of a mid-budget option that actually is, but this is pretty much gonna last you through the rest of the game. So spending 30x on a claw is not exactly the worst thing you can spend it on, but you should probably expect the claw to cost around 35x to fully upgrade. So it seems like the strangle gas and the claw is around the same price. So I'll probably upgrade the amulet first. Now the belt, if you have the Stygian Vise, it's probably really good. So you pretty much just want any life, resist, and weapon elemental damage. It will probably run you a couple exalts to get a belt this good. And the boots is pretty much you're looking for tailwind and any resist and life. I had a pair of boots like this very early on, and I pretty much used it for majority of the league until I got my super endgame boots. And those boots probably cost me around 10x to make. And I bought the suffixes and I just reforged with suffixes cannot be changed in a Veil Chaos Orb, and I crafted on life. So pretty much how this pair of boots was made. So you can see here, all of these items that I'm recommending you guys to try to get are probably all around like 10 to 30x. And that is a pretty good range to start buying items for your upgrades in the mid game, because all of these upgrades are not too crazy expensive and they all end up providing pretty significant value. So the helmet, you can get the Blizzard Crown. The shield, you can try to get a better Scourge implicit. Amulet, you can get the Strangle Gasp. I wouldn't really mess with the rings too much. The Assassin's Mark ring with good stats on it becomes very expensive. Brass Dome, you can get a +1 or +2 for like 10 to 15x. Claws around 30x. Gloves with a +2 Strike and Frenzy, Awaken Orb, and Maven together is probably like 15x upgrade. The belt, until you get the Headhunter, you can stick with a Stygian, which probably costs you around 5 to 10x, which is a very good deal still. And the boots are probably going to be around 10x with Tailwind, Resist, and just Life, because we actually don't really need the Onslaught. on kill at all, so this is super nice. Getting move speed and cannot be chilled is a huge lifesaver. You can see this person uses Inspired Learning. Inspired Learning is pretty much a fake headhunter, and it will pretty much catapult you through NEM3 mapping. So that's just a way to make the character feel good and be able to provide like having upgrades at every single stage, right? And that's what the fun part of the build is. And once you reach a point like my character, it's kind of not as fun anymore, as every single upgrade becomes very expensive. Now another thing you could do is you can try to get a Watcher's Eye with 2 mods on it. I do have a search here with, what's it called? I had a Watcher's Eye search. So pretty much the best Watcher's Eye ends up being this with precision attack damage and then precision attack speed. So upgrading that I think is like 15x. So you're pretty much paying 60, or you're pretty much paying 10 exalts for 60% attack damage, which is not that bad of a value. So overall, if I was to choose upgrades, I would probably get the amulet because it's pretty cool. And then I would probably upgrade my claw, because amulet and claw is probably the biggest source of damage that you can possibly get. And then I would probably try to make a pair of gloves that's +2 strike. Actually, first thing I would upgrade is probably the Blizzard Crown, because the Blizzard Crown is pretty cheap and it would only cost me like 5x to get a huge amount of damage. And extra cold damage on a Blizzard Crown is pretty much like an extra link on your Lightning Strike. So upgrade path for me, if I was at the budget pop, is I would make a Blizzard Crown with Berserk effect. Then I would buy a claw, an amulet, whatever I could afford first. And then I would make the gloves. And the boots I would do if I could find a pretty cheap pair. But that's probably what I would do. And I do think that provides a pretty good upgrade plan. And at every single step, you have something to look forward to improve your character.
I get lost inside my thoughts, and when I start to think, oh, the how close it starts to end up on the brink. I tried so hard, but all these scars, they cut so deep I bleed. I fell so fast from heaven, it's like someone clipped my wings. Now I'm falling, and I can't see the ground. Can we stop this gravity? It keeps bringing me down. I can't breathe and I don't wanna die. Can we stop this gravity? 'Cause I don't wanna say goodbye. I laid awake just begging to let go. I almost got to suicidal thoughts, but you stepped in. An angel sent from heaven showed me how to live again. Now I'm falling, and I can't see the ground. Can we stop this gravity? It keeps bringing me down. I can't breathe and I don't wanna die. Can we stop this gravity? 'Cause I don't wanna say goodbye. Darkness that tried to swallow me. Some days I fall, but I hear your call. I pray I don't hit the ground. Gravity. Gravity.
When I'm lonely in the dark, I know you are with me, yeah. Don't you see that I need you so much? Don't you see that I love you so much? Oh na 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 na, oh na 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 na, darling, I need your love. Oh na 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 na, oh na 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 na, darling, I need your love. When I'm lonely in the dark, I know you are with me, yeah. Don't you see that I need you so much? Don't you see that I love you so much? Oh na 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 na, oh na 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 na, darling, I need
Then
your
yeah, I
love.
decided to showcase a little bit of Uber 5-ways. Uber 5-ways are pretty crazy. It's actually insane how long some of the bosses stay alive for, considering I have like 60, 70, 80 mil DPS going out, especially with Headhunter buffs. With Headhunter buffs, I probably have around like 100 to 200 mil easily. And it just goes to show you, I don't really know what they were doing when they designed the Uber 5-way content, but some of the scaling is kind of whacked, and it actually kind of makes sense why the item is so expensive. So you guys want to know what actually is the most expensive unique in the game? It turns out it is not Mage Blood. It's actually Stasis Prison, 350 exalts. I tried to farm for it. Don't really know who is using this item. I don't really know if it will ever sell for this amount, but I did try to Uber 5-way. Wasn't really that rewarding. I did get lucky with a Militant Faith that I sold for 2.5x, but other than that, pretty extremely hard, especially for how strong my character is. Not really sure who actually does it. I don't even know why you cannot search. You can't even buy the set of Uber 5-ways in the fragment tab, so kind of annoying to buy. Almost zero supply considering how many people run 5-ways. I don't really know why it's so rare, but I guess it is what it is. But hopefully you enjoyed this video and it helps you learn how to upgrade your character. I do think that it is important to be able to have upgrades at every single stage, and that what actually makes the build fun. And that's why I'm kind of searching for a new build currently, because I do feel I've reached a stage where it is actually impossible to upgrade my gear without spending like 100x per piece, which is what happened on the Aura Stacker last league. But thanks for watching, everyone. I hope you find more mirrors and exalts than I do, and see you next time. Bye.